In this session we are going to see some of the circuits of double acting cylinder, and we'll start with double acting cylinder which is operated through direct and indirect way. So let us start it. So I'll quickly create the symbol of double acting cylinder, and we are going to look now on the direct operation. Direct means the fluid, it may be air, pneumatic or oil, which is going into the double acting cylinder is actually controlled through the valve, which is the main valve. Okay. So this is the meaning of direct control. While we will see the indirect control, the relation of direct versus indirect will be much more clear. So let us quickly create a circuit. So this is, you can make a rectangle box with a line and horizontal line. This represents a double acting cylinder, and for this double acting cylinder there are two ports. Let us say port A and port B. So now for forward motion, if you wanted to move this cylinder forward, for this direction the air or the fluid, okay, should enter into A. So fluid should go in A and fluid should move out from B. So from here the fluid should enter and from here it should move down. So in that way it will move forward. And in the case of reverse motion, the fluid should enter into B and move out from A. So in that way we will be able to see that it is moving in the reverse direction. So for that, now in this circuit we are going to use two individual valves. Okay. So let me make two valves so that the fluid can enter and fluid can be taken out, both enter and taken out from A, and similarly from here the fluid should enter into port B and can be taken out also from A. So let us take 3x2 valve. Okay, so I will quickly make a 3x2 valve. 3 means it has got 3 ports and 2 means it has got 2 positions. And let us say it's a push button operated, so I have made a symbol of push button. It can be through this vertical line or we can make a button kind of thing. This is a pressure line, this is a return line or vent line, okay, and it's a pneumatic system. So in this condition it is going into port A while the return or exhaust is closed, and in this condition it will be coming to the return and pressure will be closed and it is carried out by the spring. Now the same valve we will use here also, the same 3x2 valve, which is spring loaded valve, we are going to use here also. Pressure is going in, return is closed, pressure is returning and main pressure line is closed. So this is, let us say, valve A or V1 and this is valve V2. So when V1 is pressed, then what will happen, that we have to analyze. When V1 is getting pressed, when we activate V1, then this particular line will carry high pressure which will fill here and the low pressure will move out from this line, because we are not doing anything, no action on V2. So when we have no action on V2, the spring will take care of this particular position. Okay. And in this position what you see, this particular line is getting attached here, okay, and it is going to the vent. Okay, it is P, R and A. Okay, or we can even write B also. So in this particular circuit, what we can see, when we operate V1, V2 should not be operated, and then in that condition it will move forward. Okay, so V1 should be operated or should be on by a hand press, and V2 should be off. We should not do anything to this valve V2. Then in that condition it will move to forward condition. Fine. And similarly when we operate V2, V2 is on means it is operated, and V1 is not operated means it is taken care by the spring. So then in that condition what will happen, this is on, so the fluid will enter through this one in this chamber and then it will come out from this side. So in that way it will make a reverse motion. Okay, so it's a reverse direction. So that is how a simple direct circuit is created. Now here the issue is what happens if V1 and V2 pressed together on, okay, on together, then what will happen? Then you can see pressure from both line will enter into this particular line. Pressure will try to move, this fluid will try to move from both of these line, and then both side of the cylinder will have high pressure and it will not have any particular motion. So to avoid this situation, if you would like to avoid this situation, we can have another valve, okay, in which we will have an interlocking of V1 and V2, or you can say when V1 is operated, V2 will be off. When V2 is operated, V1 position will off. So how can we do that? So for that, what we will do, we will exchange this particular valve to other valve. Okay, let us see it. So what we will do, here we are going to select a particular valve. Let me make first of all the valve, then we will understand the process. So we will make a valve here which is a 4x2 valve. Okay, it will have 2 position, okay, and 4 ports. So these are the 4 ports. One is designated to pressure, other is vent or return. So in this condition, pressure will be given to port A. Let us say that this is A and this is B, while A is connected to R, and then in opposite condition, now the pressure will go to port B and pressure will be from A will be connected to the exhaust. So what is happening here? When we actuate, let us say that we are having a push button here. So when we actuate this push button, pressure will move to port A. Now let us connect it. Pressure will move to port A, and when we air from or oil from B is going to exhaust. Okay. And when we don't do anything, by this spring force, the pressure will go to port B, okay, and release from port A. So in that way, if this particular one, let us say designated as V1. So if V1 is on, okay, V1 is on means pressure will go to A and return from B, so it will move forward. And then when V1 is off means spring will take care of, then it will be in reverse condition. So now we can compare both circuits which we have seen. So in this circuit we cannot have any intermediate situation possible. Either the cylinder will rest at left extreme or the piston, or the right extreme. Fine. So this was the direct operation. Now we will go towards the indirect operation. Now in the case of indirect control, what actually happens? The fluid, that is air, compressed air or oil, which is the working fluid. Working means it is going into the cylinder. So let me show a cylinder here, and the fluid which is filled in this part or this part of the cylinder is called as working fluid. It may be air or oil. So whatever is entering into the cylinder is not directly controlled through the valves. Fine. Then it will be called as indirect control. So let us quickly make a circuit of the same and try to understand the pros and cons of these two methods. So let us make a rectangle. This is just a symbol, and then you make a vertical line, horizontal line, and there are 2 ports of the cylinder, port A and port B. You already understood that how, depending on the direction of flow of fluid in A and B, how the cylinder piston will move forward and reverse. Fine. So what we will do here, we will create another valve here. Okay. We take another valve here, and this valve, let us say it is a 4x2 valve, as we have seen in the direct case. This is a 4x2 valve which switches the direction of flow of the fluid, and then it will be connected as we have connected earlier. Okay. A and B are connected here, which are port A and B. This is pressure line and this is return. Now in the previous example, in the direct, we have created it in this way. Now what we are going to do here, we are not going to control this liquid or fluid directly, but we are going to put another remote line. Okay. These are the remote lines which are pneumatically operated lines, pilot control line or automatically controlled valve. Now these lines will be connected through separate 3x2 valve. So this is a 3x2 valve, as we have seen in the very beginning. The same 3x2 valve will be utilized here. Okay, spring loaded push button, and here also the 3x2 valve is getting utilized. It is a simple on off switch. Okay, so this is a 3x2 valve. Now here this is pressure, return and A, and let us say here B, pressure and return. So now what will happen? Let us say this is valve number V1, this is V2, and this is valve number 3. When we will press V1, okay, when V1 is on, okay, when V1 is on, then what will happen? It will direct the flow into this pilot line, and then this particular position will take place. This particular position will take place, and then the fluid will move into line A and will return back from B. So the overall consequence will be forward motion. So it will move in forward direction. Okay. Now in that situation, let us say the other consequence, what else is going to happen if we press V2? So the reverse is going to happen. So in that case, when we say that when V2 is on, okay, then the pressure line here will be high, and it means the pressure will go to this point, which is here. Pressure will go here, and from here it will come back. Okay, come back. So it means from here it will move. So in that way it will go to opposite direction, that is reverse direction. So this is an example of indirect control. Now how is it different from direct? So in this case, what is actually happening, if you see closely, we can operate different pressure. Let us say this is 25 bar. This pressure is 25 bar, and this pressure can be 10 bar. Okay, this particular pressure which is operated here is just going to hit the spool to make a motion of this particular valve. Fine. So these two can be operated at the lower pressure, 10 bar. So at lower pressure, effort utilized to operate this valve will be also lower compared to 10 bar. So it's an automated system. Fine, that is difference number one. Difference number two is we can also use different fluids here. We can use, instead of air, we can use a hydraulic system which uses oil, and this uses air. Okay. So we can see that a large pressure, more than 10 bar, let us say 100 bar of oil, can be directed through this double acting cylinder, and which will be easily controlled through the this air system. In this situation, this particular valve V3 will be called as air operated valve. Air operated valve. Okay, because it is operated through pneumatic lines, and we have already discussed that why it is only air operated, not oil operated, because in the case of air the speed will be high, so we never make any control line or pilot line using oil. So this is the quick circuit for indirect control of the double acting cylinder.